All right, YouTube, this is Teu Cents back with my 2 cents on OCTOPATH TRAVELER, and today we're doing something a little bit different. The game has officially been out for 3 weeks, and I just want to take a look at some of the concerns that the players have had, mostly due from the reviews on the App Store, but I've seen these same sort of complaints either in my comment section or on Reddit, and I just thought, we would just take a look and see how relevant their thoughts are, and kind of maybe see if we can kind of understand where they're coming from and see if we really would like the game to kind of make some changes in these areas. So just from outset here, a 4.4 average review is really good for a mobile game. Obviously there's a lot of us that are really excited about this game or having a lot of fun. So one of the other things I've seen is a lot of times that somebody posts something like this that is maybe negative on Reddit or stuff like that, there's a lot of people who kind of might come in to kind of beat up on those people. That's not what I want to do here. So let's take a look and see on their these concerns and see what we think. I'll just gonna give my 2 cents on them. All right, let's look at the first set of reviews here. The game is okay, but you spend 90% of your time basically tapping to speed up to advance through the dialogue. It looks like they're upset that there's not, like a skip dialogue function. They find themselves kind of like closing out because they're bored just reading. All right, this is fair. I think this is fine for somebody, to think that, hey, maybe they want a more engaging game and less of a reading sort of game, less sort of being immersed in that aspect of things. I get this, but I also, look at it like this is kind of like Octopath's thing, of having these more in-depth kind of story modes and stuff like that. I do wish that there was maybe a faster way to get text, because I can definitely read it faster than what they're presenting it to me. So maybe that would kind of help speed things up a little bit. There are some times where you get in some really long kind of text change, and even I kind of end up zoning out depending on if I really care about that character or not. But I can get this one. I understand. Is it enough for a 1-star review? No. I mean, at this point, maybe you don't review the game at all and you just move on, or you just put it like a 3 and say, hey, this is not for me. Moving on here, it looks like it's a insanely long intro, no ability to skip, so we kind of seen that earlier. You summon 10 characters, and for 10 minutes you have to watch them slowly introduce themselves. Okay, like, this is actually one of the things that I kind of found annoying about summoning too, is it took a really long time with all the introductions and stuff like that, and it was kind of like I wanted to read them. I think it was just, other games have this same feature. But they only do it on like the highest rarity of units, a lot of times. They get to say something. And a lot of time it's like on the screen when you do the summon. Then they have to like say their spiel before you can click to get to the next one. This was, we get all the summoning animation through each one of them. And then we get, dropped into the castle there. And then each one of them have to come in there, and we're fading in and out. And I did find, when I did my short summon video, and I've only done like 30 summons on this game, so I'm like been hoarding back. But I know when I did the summon video, I went through and I chopped so much out of that just to kind of make it viewable for you guys, because I just didn't feel like anybody wanted to sit through that and kind of read or look into that. I do think, if you want to have it for all the rarities and stuff like that, just there's other places that we can put that feature where they kind of get to have their introductions and maybe into the memoirs or something like that section, and maybe keep more fluidity in the summoning time frame. So I actually, I can kind of really relate to that one, and I think that's a good one. It's a decent concern to have. All right, now into this next one, we're looking at, it's a bit of a slog. If you're a classic JRPG fan, you're probably going to like this game. I definitely think that's true. I think that's why a lot of us are kind of like, oh man, this is a little bit nostalgic. Of course, if you played the original Octopath Traveler, you would naturally kind of enjoy the flow of this game as well. But then it takes a minute to load the game, even on the latest phone. He's got the Pixel there, the Pixel 6. And it seems like anytime he taps out of the game, he automatically has to reload or relog. I haven't noticed this a whole lot. As long as it's kind of like short, me going out, checking a message or something like that, coming back in, I haven't had any problems. Yeah, if I spend a minute or 2 minutes doing something else on my phone, yes, it wants me to relog. Sometimes I wonder if this is more of a phone feature than a game feature, where they're just shutting down being unused apps in the background just to keep everything else running quicker. I can't say 100% that I know that for sure. So yeah, I mean, there's some long load times in the game. And what I've noticed is, I play Echoes of Mana and I've played other Square Enix games, and a lot of them have load times that are longer than what I would, normally care to sit through if I was playing a console game or something like that. I mean, I'm pretty old at this point, so I mean, I remember playing Skyrim when Skyrim actually was first came out, and we had some nice load times there going in and out of things. But for a mobile game, yeah, I do think there are some longer load times. But I actually think we should sit down and maybe do a stopwatch with this compared to other similar games and see exactly how much longer it is. This really hasn't been an issue for me. I don't know. Maybe I'm just too casual when I'm playing and I'm watching TV or something like that, and it just doesn't seem to phase me as much. But I see where we do have longer load times. I'm not exactly sure how much they could do about this. One thing we do have to consider is the game. It's only been out for 3 weeks here, but it has been out elsewhere. Granted, technology is always improving and getting updated and stuff like that. And as well, the game also has to find ways of optimizing with these new devices and things like that. So that could be where maybe some of the issues are. Is just we're continuing to have to deal with optimization. So I imagine this will probably get better overall in some instances, or potentially stay the same depending on if you're getting a new device or that they haven't optimized to yet or not. So. Let's see, we got in the second one here, loving the game basically, but it's a gacha game. So I know that there's a huge amount of the player base that are coming from OCTOPATH Traveler, the Switch game, over to this, thinking, hey, this is going to be like this, a different version of the same game, basically, prequel, sequel, whatever you want to call it there. And it's just not. Anything that we're getting on the mobile, I've seen some people specifically complaining about Square Enix of how could you do this? Like, why did you go down this road or something like that? Square Enix has been down this road for years and years and years and years and years and years. So they make titles that are just the mainstream titles on your consoles, but their mobile games are gacha games, which they don't have a history of being the worst company out there. But they have a history of being a company that, they're going to make some money on their games. So as far as, is it horrible rates? Is it this or that? I think that's all subjective. I don't want to get into the nitty gritty on that. I've made a video about it. This game I feel is very free-to-play friendly, but that is in comparison to the other games that I'm either currently playing or have played in the past, and the ability to complete the content in the game without doing a significant amount of pulls. Like, I've discussed before, I've completed everything in the game. I'm just working on the battle-tested weapons right now. I'm just working on those fights. So I basically completed all of the story mode, and I've done 30 pulls, which means I've spent no money, and I still have tons of crystals. So to me, looking at it, say, hey, you know what? I can enjoy the entire game. I'm just not enjoying the characters because I don't have them. So there is that aspect of it. Some people are very much collector mindset. Hey, I have a real big attachment to this character and that character, and I don't have them, so therefore I'm not enjoying the game. This game's bad, Gacha's bad, yada yada. And I have a hard time disagreeing with those people that's what their focus is, and their kind of drive to playing the game is the characters in the game. So I understand that. However, there are some multiple viewpoints on this issue. So, like any of these reviews here, kind of give your thoughts down in the comment section. Keep it, kosher. Like, we're not going to tear anybody apart or anything like that. So, if you get mean down there, I'll just delete your comment. So, all right, let's look at one last set here. All right, this first one up top here, talking again about the waiting time, the text in between not being able to just really being able to immerse himself because they're constantly waiting between screen transitions, fading in and out, stuff like that. I guess now that this has kind of been brought to my attention because I wasn't thinking about it before, I can see where this is irritating. We talked about it before. I just sit and watch TV, so hey, it at the end of the day it doesn't bother me. But I can see where somebody might have this issue. And then let's see the second one here. This last one we're going to look at is I don't like that you have to choose from so many characters, basically. Wanting to have a little bit more auto combat. Auto combat I think is great in a lot of mobile games, especially ones that are really kind of grindy. And I'm not saying that this game isn't grindy, because if you're trying to like grind out your levels or anything like that, you can constantly be going through and doing that. I haven't been min-maxing in that aspect because I haven't felt like it was needed. But sure, if you're just really trying to push and get ahead of the game or something like that. But I also have a lot of characters that are going to get maxed out at like level 60 because I don't have a lot of 5-star units. So I've kind of like, well, why do all that grind and then have nothing to do? So I get this in some regards. This is another person I'm thinking is like wants to be more integrated with the actual characters, and so perhaps maybe they haven't played Gacha games in the past because they do provide a lot of characters up front, and then you kind of have to deal with the whole mess of what's good, what's bad. Oh, I like this character. Is this character meta? Can I use him anyway? And I feel like that can be kind of overwhelming for somebody coming from other games that you have a main character and like 3 or 4 other supporting characters that gradually join your party, and maybe even at the end of the game you're only choosing between 10 people of who you want to have on a 4-person team. Obviously that makes it a lot easier, and you can connect more with each individual one, remember their stories better. So I definitely understand this concern. It just doesn't work that way in mobile games, especially in Gacha games. And then you would say, well, then obviously don't have the Gacha, but that's where we're at right now. So I can't really tell them no, but. So I can see this as a concern of people just wanting to be more invested. So I don't know. Anyway, tell me what you guys think down below. And that's been my 2 cents.